Hey, listen, tell your mother I said hi, all right? Because today we're reviewing The Departed. Yeah, I know that Boston accent that I just did was about as shitty as most of the people in this movie did, but today we're going to review The Departed. I have the 4K Steelbook here. This came from Warner Brothers. The Departed, I will say, outside of the Boston accents, which as somebody who grew up in the area, it's funny, I've kind of ditched my Boston accent because I talk a lot at work. I do public speaking. I do these YouTube videos and I do podcasts, and it comes out every now and then, certain words, but I've pretty much ditched it because you just kind of, you don't talk that way when you're like presenting or doing a video. So I kind of have this like professional voice. You'll probably catch it if you ever have a conversation with me just one-on-one. I might, you might catch it and throw it out there. Some of you guys probably hear it. Maybe I don't. But The Departed is one of those movies that was very close to me. It came out when I was in high school. It was a big deal. It had all the Boston actors in it. You had Matt Damon, you had Mark Wahlberg, you had all these guys who were killing it in The Departed. Leonardo DiCaprio, Martin Scorsese, Jack Nicholson. I mean, it's actually based on a Japanese film called Internal Affairs, but they kind of took that and spun it and based it a little bit more on like Whitey Bulger and those gangs in Boston in the 70s. It had police corruption, which, yeah, that was Boston in the 70s and in the 80s and 90s and probably still today. No offense to police officers out there, but Boston doesn't have the best reputation. So it was everything that kind of was this area. And I really enjoyed the movie, and of course it gave us Shipping Up to Boston, which became an anthem by the Dropkick Murphys for Red Sox games. You will still hear it at the end of every Red Sox game, right after Dirty Water. They'll go into Shipping Up to Boston, or they'll go into Tessie. It's a classic. You hear it at sports games all the time. It's just an iconic film with an iconic ending and a ton of quotable lines. Now, the thing with the 4K release is that it's only a 2K digital intermediate. So this is technically an upscale to 4K. Which means that when you watch this, the biggest upgrade will be your color. Now, I obviously noticed, some better detail and stuff. Taking a 2K image, even if it is a 2K, and doing a little bit of upscaling to 4K does provide you some more detail, but you can only take out what's actually there. And in this case, what's there is a 2K source. So you can only take so much out of it. You can't go back to an original film cell or something. So the detail improves, but slightly. But the other thing is, it was also an older Blu-ray that came out in like 2008. So it came out on HD DVD and Blu-ray, one of those early films that took advantage of both formats. So the the Blu-ray is over 15 years old at this point, and it had old encoding and stuff like that. So honestly, it's a bigger improvement than you might think. For that reason, Blu-ray technology in 2008 was nowhere near as good as it was, say, 10 years later in 2018, and it's nowhere as good as it was, this year in 2024. So it is a better improvement there in a lot of ways, with like compression and the encoding and just the artifacts in the digital. It's a much better picture because we don't have that old tech. But I thought the color was pretty good. It brought a lot of life to the picture. The Departed is fairly gray, and that's, I think, intentional, right? But there are some kind of striking colors, cops' uniforms, that blue, some really nice backgrounds and backdrops, some of the darker scenes in warehouses and, things like that during sting operations. Like, those look better because you get a little bit of an inkier, darker black level. You can make out a little more what's happening. So overall, I would say like it's a nice improvement. Typically a film like this wouldn't be a huge leap, but I think that this one gets a little bit of an extra push because of how old the Blu-ray was. And I actually don't know if they're selling just the remastered Blu-ray, because this only has the 4K disc with it. But if they're not, that's kind of a shame, because I think a lot of people would benefit even just from a remastered 1080p Blu-ray if they haven't upgraded to 4K yet. Now on the audio side, we actually have a new track. It's DTS HD 5.1. The Departed previously had a PCM lossless track. It also had Dolby True HD. So I think a lot of people were probably expecting Dolby True HD, go to Dolby Atmos. Unfortunately, no. They went with DTS HD 5.1. I would say it sounds pretty similar to the Dolby True HD. There's not a ton of difference. Again, better technology 15 years later, just with audio compression and the way that was encoded, might give you a little bit more, especially on the lower end. It might be a little bit heavier. I think, everything else though is pretty much what it was. The dialogue is as clear as it can be, or at least as clear as it can be with trying to understand some of these guys and their accents, but I didn't see any real reason. There's no real pros here. There's no real cons. It's good. It was good. No real change. Now for packaging and special features, I've got the limited edition steelbook here, which apparently is now out of print, out of stock. And it was truly limited, which is what I understand about groove.com stuff. They're limited. So when they're gone, they're gone. So it's now selling for like 60, 70 bucks on eBay, which is annoying. The artwork is nothing crazy. You get your main characters in the front. You get a couple rats on the back, which is a nice little tie-in to the film. It is like very matte and gray. So I already have like scratches on it. It would be a tough one to keep in good condition. And then on the inside, let me flip this. You get your 4K disc, you get some Matt Damon love right there. Nothing really too crazy. For special features, there's one new featurette, which is like 15 or 20 minutes long. And then there's a few other 20-minute-ish featurettes that are ported over from previous releases. So overall, do I think this is like a slam dunk great 4K disc? No, but it's a solid one. I mean, nobody's gonna be hurt by buying this on 4K. It's gonna be pricey for the steelbook, but there's a standard edition as well right here. I'll show you that cover art. That's, you know, going for the standard price of $23. So if you want the steelbook, you have to shell out now and get it secondhand, which sucks from scalpers, but you can get at least the standard edition. And as I mentioned, it's 4K, no Blu-ray disc, and a digital code. So there's no Blu-ray, just 4K and a code. So I would have liked to see it maybe be like 20 bucks on sale, a little bit cheaper. I think this one will dip over time. So if you wanted to wait, you could. Again, 2K upscale, no real audio upgrade. Not that any of that is bad. It's just that it's not going to be as big a leap as something on 35mm that was fully remastered from an original source. That's just not what this is. But it is a really nice improvement, mostly because of how old and ancient the old Blu-ray was. So if you want to pick this one up, I'll try to find a decent link for the steelbook. Maybe they're floating around out there. If I can, I'll put it in the video description. If not, I'll link the standard edition at least so you can get that one, and that helps support my channel. So I appreciate that. And as always, thanks for watching this review, and thank you for coming back to the channel. I appreciate you all. Make sure you subscribe here for all the latest. Turn that notification bell on too. I don't really ask for that much, but a lot of people are saying they're not seeing my videos until weeks and weeks and weeks after they release, but then they get them. So if you turn on notifications, you'll see them right away. And also make sure to follow me on social media, subscribe to my podcast, my newsletter, check out all that good stuff. All the links are in the video description and right here at the QR code. So thank you all for watching. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy out there. Tell your mother I said hi, and I'll talk to you soon.